My Counselor Online. I'm so excited to be sitting down with one of our counselors here. This is Tish Hedger, and we're going to just talk a little bit about who she is and what you can expect in a session with her. So, Tish, I want to start by asking you how you got to where you are as a counselor.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Victoria. For me, it's been a very personal journey. I think I experienced in my own life the benefits of counseling and just how God used that in challenging, hard seasons of my life. When I was a kid, and then again when I was a young adult. And I think that those experiences always really stayed with me, of just how what a gift it was that God provided that support through a counselor, and how meaningful that was to me. And ever since then, I always just wanted to be a part of that in other people's lives. And so it's funny, actually, when I was like 12, everyone was like, what do you want to be when you want to grow up? And mine was always, I want to be a counselor or a social worker. So I've wanted to do this for a long, long time.
Wow, I love that. And I love that you bring to the table experience with counseling. I think that that is such a cool thing and such cool insight that you have with people.
Yeah, I know what it's like to be on this side as the counselor, but I also know and remember what it's like to be on the other side, to be the client. So
Yeah, that's so important. So I want to ask how you found My Counselor Online, what your role is here today, how long you've been with us.
yes, I've been with my counselor for 3 years now, and I feel really thankful to be a part of the team. I had actually, years before I graduated, I had been a client of my counselor and had crossed paths with one of the clinicians and our owner, Josh Spurlock. And kind of years later, he knew that I lived in Kansas City and was interested in opening a Kansas City office. And so he called me up, and just to throw it out to see if it would be anything I'd be interested in. And honestly, my experience with my counselor, whom I was a client with first, was so impactful. I had it in my head all through my graduate program that, man, I really want to be that type of counselor, work for that type of company one day. And so he called me right as I was graduating, actually. And it was like one of those things that I'm like, I don't know, let me pray about it. Yes. And so that's how I found my counselor. It feels very much providential, like God crossed my paths with this wonderful company with its vision. And today I'm the interim clinical director. And then I also am a practicing therapist here on the team.
Wow, that's amazing. I did not even realize that you had been a client with MCO. I think that
God.
once again just brings in this incredible insight and know that you have.
Yeah, it's such a sweet gift to me, this feeling of my pain really being like kind of repurposed, and this like redemptive kind of aspect of that season of life that was had a lot of suffering for me, for God to bring basically, my career and my family at MCO through that time of suffering is really, just very meaningful to me. And so I just am filled with a lot of gratitude about that.
How beautiful. Wow, thank you for sharing that with me. And I would just love to know what clients you are often thriving with. What kind of clients typically come through your door, and who are you typically sitting down with?
Yes. So I do work with couples. I work with individuals. I work with a wide span of ages. But specifically, I really love to work with distressed couples. It feels very, just very sacred work to get to be a part of supporting and guiding a couple into healing or strengthening in challenging times. So I love that. And then my favorite thing to work with is trauma. And so trauma, whether it's an individual, whether it was childhood abuse, whether it was like a relational trauma in a relationship, and whether it's in the individual context or the marital context, it's my very favorite, kind of clinical issue to work with. I have a lot of empathy and a lot of just it really pulls like tenderness out of my heart to get to work with trauma. So
I love that. That's so important. When someone comes in with like a traumatic experience, it's so important to have someone who's empathetic, who
yes,
you and sees you.
yes, yeah,
That's awesome. So tell me, kind of in closing, what people can expect when they come into a session with you, Tish.
yeah. So when you come in for a session with me, I think just how I'm wired is I really see people's stories as being very sacred. And I see the pain that people are coming in with as very sacred. God says that He keeps every tear we cry in a bottle. And so I have this sense of our pain really mattering to God. And so I see it as this privilege and this honor to get to sit with people in that space. So when you come, you're going to experience that I'm going to be very curious, that I'm really going to want to honor your story. I'm going to want to hold a lot of space for what you're experiencing and really what you want to get out of the time that we're going to spend together in our counseling sessions. That I really want to come alongside the goals that that the individual has that's coming in with, and then I also recognize that they're the expert kind of on themselves and why they're there. And so I want to know if counseling was a success, like how would you know? And I really want to understand that. And then I also want to bring my experience in sitting with the clients that I've sat with, to bring the tools that I've studied, the skills that I've honed, and really collaborate with the client for the best path forward in healing. And so it'll be a very collaborative process.